Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Taiariol, and I'm a BIM technical consultant here at Graitec. In today's Revit tip, we're going to be reviewing how you can utilize workplanes to improve your MEP workflows. We're going to be reviewing how to place workplanes, how we can place elements on a workplane. Mostly going to be looking at vertical workplanes, how we can place air terminals onto a wall, how we can place things like electrical panels or tankless water heaters, anything that would be hosted to either a wall or a ceiling. These are typically elements that you're going to be placing onto a workplane. The reason being is if that architect deletes their wall, typically that element, that wall or ceiling, is going to be in a linked file in a typical MEP workflow. If that linked wall or ceiling gets deleted by the architect, then those elements would also be deleted. So this is why we would place elements onto a workplane. So we're going to be reviewing mostly vertical workplanes. Typically your air terminals or lighting fixtures you might place onto a horizontal workplane that would be placed at the ceiling. In this case, we're going to be reviewing vertical workplanes, so something that would be hosted to a wall. Without further ado, let's jump into Revit. Okay, here we are in Revit. I've just got a small demo file open here, 3D view. We're going to switch into a floor plan view first, and let's model in our work planes. So to model in our work plane, just coming up to architecture and then reference plane. A reference plane is what we'll place first, and as soon as we give it a name, call this mechanical room, we can then use that as a work plane. So as soon as you give it a name, it'll be able to use it. We'll be able to use it as a work plane. Now the important part is make sure you draw this correctly. So if you see the text showing up above the reference plane, like so, the text is showing up above the reference plane. I modeled this right to left. That means you've modeled it correctly, and everything you place on it will be in the right orientation. If the text is underneath, then anything you place on it will be upside down, because you've modeled the work plane upside down. So here we've got our two work planes in here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to begin placing some MEP elements on these work planes. So let's come over to this one here first. We're going to bring our section across. Open that section up. We're going to place some air terminals right in here in kind of the ceiling space that would be on these walls. Now again, we are not placing these in the architect's walls. We're placing them on the work plane, so that if the architect was to go through and move this wall or delete this wall, our elements will not be deleted. So once you get this section view open, we're going to go up to Systems, Air Terminals, and we're going to place a workplane-based, hosted workplane-based diffuser. And we're going to come up to the ribbon. Step 1 is up to the ribbon and select Place on Workplane. In this drop-down here under Specify New Workplane, we can see Reference Plane Air Terminal. That's the one we want to place it on, so make sure we select that in the drop-down menu. Let's turn these arrows off. And we're going to place one there, one there, one there. Press Escape twice to cancel out of that command. Come back to Mechanical 1, we can see, remember, always in Revit, always make sure you double check what you've done in another view, whether that's a floor plan view or a 3D view. 3D view, we can still see them there. They're kind of floating. We're going to move that reference plane in parallel to the wall using the Align tool. Okay, so now those air terminals are now at the wall, located at the wall, but they're actually on our work plane. They're not in the wall. Okay, so that one's pretty straightforward as far as placing it onto the work plane. This one here, let's go through, let's place an electrical panel on the mechanical room work plane. Again, place on work plane, make sure that's selected up in the ribbon. Make sure you've got the correct family here in the properties type selector. In your options bar, we always want to be paying attention to three main areas, one being the ribbon, second being the options bar, and the third being the properties menu. The options bar is where you're going to select what placement plane you would like to use. And as you can see, we do not see that reference plane mechanical room. So we're going to come down here to pick. Okay, this will allow us to hopefully see, there it is, mechanical room reference plane. And we're going to press OK. Okay, this next menu here, go to view. Okay, in the last instance, we were actually already in the section view, so it didn't ask us. We didn't see this menu here because we were already in that section 1. In this case, we're in a floor plan, so it's going to ask us which section you'd like to open. We're going to open section 2. And now you can see we're going to come in and we're going to place this on a work plane. Okay, so you know that you're placing it on a work plane because one at the very top, it says placement on work plane is selected. In your options bar, you can see mechanical room. And then an indicator on the drawing space here, you could even place this off outside of the entire building space here, no issues. But if we go here to place on face, you can see now place on face, it doesn't let you place it out here, right? It's looking for a face in the model, so it's going to let you place on one of these walls. Okay, place on work plane, again, you can place it anywhere. So that work plane is infinite, right? In all directions. So we're going to place it on a work plane. We're just going to place it here. Again, press escape twice. Check it out in another view. 3D, okay, there it is. Come back to the floor plan. Let's check it out in floor plan, and we actually don't see it. We don't see it in floor plan. Okay, we don't see it in floor plan, so what we're going to do is check our visibility. On the properties menu here, let's scroll down. Well, we got mechanical plan and we're trying to look for an electrical element. So let's change this to electrical plan. Press OK. There we go. There's our panel. I'm actually going to select it and I'm going to flip this work plane here. And then we're going to align it. Perfect. And there's our electrical panel. If we switch this view template back to the mechanical plan, okay, there's our air terminals. Both elements now place on work planes. Okay, this same workflow should be used for, say, lighting fixtures, or, for example, lighting fixtures. If we open up this section, we should be placing, oh, there it is. There's that electrical panel. But we should be placing a work plane in here right at the ceiling level. Okay, so that's where any air terminals or lighting fixtures might be hosted to. And again, this saves you time if the architect goes through and deletes these elements, right? This is a linked file that we're referencing here. Typically, this is going to be the MEP workflow that you're going to use. You're going to have a linked architectural model that you're referencing and then going through and placing all of your MEP elements. If you place them on work planes and you use this work plane tip here, those elements will not be deleted if these elements are ever moved by the architect. So with that, that's all I had to show you guys for today, was creating those reference planes, placing elements on those work planes, and refining and improving your MEP workflows. Hopefully you guys learned something from this short tip. Don't hesitate to reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can find the link, on the screen right now. Take care, good luck, and I'll see you in the next Revit tip.